Tell us a little bit about what that was like.
They had set up a temporary office in Winnipeg, actually, and we went there to meet with the individual. His name was Mitchell
Timmerman.
Timmerman.
Yeah.
And Mitchell was very good at explaining everything that we were supposed to do, how we were supposed to document everything, if we disposed of it, take pictures of it ahead of time and document everything, and that's what we did. And then survey the damage and see how badly the damage was, and then they would set up an adjuster to come out and take a look at the property. From there, they had us come out and meet with the first adjuster. The two of us went over the property with him, and he put together the whole thing and said that he would have it into mast within 10 days. So then I called Mask after the 10-day period, and the individual that I was talking to on the phone, he said, yes, I'll send you the documentation. You can look it over, and if there's any deficiencies, you can get a hold of us. They faxed it to us, and I believe it was about $53,000. I think it was
53 or 58?
$53,000 or $58,000
Yeah.
damage. And looking it all over, I wasn't sure whether that was enough money to repair the amount of damage that was done to the house. So I got a hold of Gord,
Yeah.
and that's
Gord.
when we went out to Mask to look at to talk to these people on a one-on-one and have a meeting with them and
With
ask
the
them
damages that
with the
was
damages that they gave me.
assessed.
Now, in the days in between, they phoned me. And it was a clerical staff person that phoned me, and she said that she had a check for me. And I said, you have a check for me? What's that check for? And she said, well, the check is for $30,000. And she said, that's what we're giving you for damages. And I said, well, the documentation that you sent me was for $58,000.
And you told us to review it, and if there was something missing, to let them know.
To let you know. And she said, oh no, something's wrong here. So she hung up, and I called back about half an hour later and spoke to another individual there. And that's when they told me that I had the wrong document.
They said you were never supposed to get the original estimate. You were supposed to get the
scrutinized,
revised, the scrutinized
estimate. The estimate that was done after they scrutinized and looked at the adjuster's estimates. So we thought this is wrong, and then I got Gord, and we went out to Portage La Prairie to have our meeting with both documents. They actually presented the $30,000 document. I looked at the two of them, and there was discrepancies between the two documents, not to mention the deficiencies that I had found. And Gord, when he looked at the house, thought that he couldn't fix it for $90,000.
Yeah.
So they suggested to me that I take the $30,000, start the job, and they might give me some more after I appealed. And I said to them in the meeting, I don't think I want to sign a contract with somebody and start repairing and not getting the money in the end, and overextending myself if I'm into contracts with people that are going to repair the place.
Well, considering we're retired and are on fixed income, so we...
So I left there without taking their $30,000, and they were pretty upset with me. And we walked away from the $30,000 and we carried on. Well, they called me again and said they had another adjuster coming out to do the infrastructure, which included the well and the driveway and the sewers, the septic system, the landscaping. And I came out and I met with that individual. We went over the whole place. He looked it all over. He said, yes, we have about $30,000 or $40,000 worth of damage here on his infrastructure estimates. So now that one went in.
And in the meantime, we brought him in the house to finalize.
And he got sick.
He got sick. He said, I've been in the business for...
No, that was the first guy that got sick.
Well, the first guy got sick too when he came in the house because of the odor that was in the home. The second guy came in.
and said, I'm not staying here. I've
I-
got
I-
6 kids to look after at home.
And I won't be exposed to that mold.
So then Mask phoned me up and said, we have another adjuster. We want you to meet with the new adjuster. So we met with the other individual in the driveway and a representative from Mask, and he
Met us in
shook
the-
his hand,
met
or
us in
shook
the
her hand in the driveway and said, hi, my name is such and such, and I just want to tell you I'm a mold expert. He told me that he had so many initials behind his name that they wouldn't fit
Put
on
on
his
the card.
on his business
So he's
card.
put as many as he could on the card. I said to my husband under my breath, I said, somebody that tells me a story like that, you gotta wonder about him.
And we had no conversation with him before about mold or anything, but he was the mold expert. So he went into the house and he said, I can tell you right now that you don't have mold in this house. He crawled underneath the house. He said, there's no mold underneath the
Before that, he said, I understand that you're on chemo. And I said, yes, I am. He said, 26 treatments, myself. And then he said he was going to climb under our cottage and check out the mold. And he had no
protective
clothing on at all.
Not even a mask.
He just started under there. And I said, stop a minute. You've been on chemo? He said, yes, I have. I said, don't go under there. Are you trying to kill yourself? Stay out of there. He said, sweetie, I'm a mold expert.
I'm a professional.
I'm a professional. He said, I can do this. He went under there, and guess what? He came out of there, no mold under our cottage.
They went with his report.
Yes.
And when we got his report, it was, Joanne analyzed it. It was combined with the report from the infrastructure individual. And it turned out that it was about $4,000 damage.
He paid for us to have mold cleaner. What I don't.
Some sort of anti-mold agent.
But when I went for the appeal, I said to them at the time, I said, there's not even any money for us to rip up the carpet to paint this stuff on. What are we supposed to do? Put it right on top of the carpet and right on top of the floor covering? Because all you're paying for is the actual stuff.
Well, the appeal was quite a process too.
Yes,
The
yeah.
appeal is very intimidating.
Yes.
They sort of set you up with representatives from government
Who are friends
who are all friends.
from the same group.
The group that is supposed to be conducting the appeal is supposed to be impartial, yet they all work for agriculture in some capacity.
And are talking about families and different things that they've done together. In the meantime, you're sitting there and they're asking questions and they're...
The same questions that you've been answering for about a year or a year and a half.
Yeah, yeah.
So at that juncture, we left there. We knew
Just
we
gave
weren't
up.
coming out with too much. They did revise it. They gave us, I think, a total of $27,000. And that $27,000 included the garage, the landscaping, the septic tank, the well, and $4,000 for repairing the house.
Repairing the house, yes.
So we had to make a decision at that point on what we were going to do. And we weren't sure that we wanted to stay in Winnipeg in a rental property. So we decided that we would move back to the lake, and we started looking at alternatives to come back to the lake.
That's right, yeah. We had gone to a conference, Gord, where we met you, and I said to Doug, if we're going to do this, we should have somebody that knows a little bit about, because we'd never built a house before or thought of moving in a house or whatever. I said to Doug, let's find somebody that's somewhat an expert in the field so that we're not chasing after our own tail here, you know, just trying to do stuff on our own and not doing a very good job.